Am I the asshole for kicking my parents out of my wedding after they tried to bring my estranged brother? I mean, technically not, because it's his birthday, I guess, or her birthday. We don't even know. And she can invite whoever the fuck she wants, and that should be respected. All right. I, 29 male, recently married the love of my life. 27 female. The wedding was everything we dreamed of, except for one major issue caused by my parents. For context, I'm estranged from my older brother Luke, 35 male. He bullied me relentlessly throughout my childhood, verbally, emotionally, and even physically. If it was that bad, aren't the parents more to blame than the brother? I feel like. Because they didn't intervene? Yeah, right? Fuck the parents. Why did you invite your parents? Like, honestly, like, why did you invite your parents in the first place? Okay. But yeah, it's his wedding. I agree, 100%. So far, it's his wedding. It's his wedding. Like, nobody has the right to bring anyone he doesn't want there, right? Like, it's simple. It's his wedding. Okay. My parents always downplayed it, brushing it off as normal sibling stuff, but it wasn't. Luke made my life hell for years. And when I finally went no contact with him 5 years ago, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. My parents, however, have never accepted my choice. They constantly try to guilt me into reconciling, saying, family is everything, and Luke has changed. I've stood firm, though, because I know letting him back into my life would only bring pain. When my fiancé and I were planning our wedding, I made it clear to my parents that Luke was not invited. I even told them if they tried to bring it, they'd be asked to leave. They reluctantly agreed, or so I thought. The day of the wedding, as we're greeting guests before the ceremony, I see my parents walk in with Luke. My heart sank. I immediately pulled them aside and asked what the hell they were doing. My mom said they couldn't leave him out because he's still family and thought once I saw him, I'd get over it. I was furious. I told them they had two options, either they leave with Luke or they leave without him, but he wasn't staying. Wait. Either they leave with Luke or they leave without him, but that means Luke stays, no? My dad started arguing, saying I was being dramatic and ruining my own wedding, while my mom started crying about how I was tearing the family apart. I stood my ground and told them to leave. In the end, they stormed out with Luke, and neither of them stayed for the ceremony. The rest of the day was amazing, but now the fallout has begun. My parents have been blowing up my phone, accusing me of humiliating them in front of the family. Extended relatives are divided. Some say I did the right thing, while others think I overreacted and should have just kept the peace for one day. Even a couple of my friends said I could have handled it more quietly by letting him stay but ignoring him. No, I think, kick them out, for sure. They deserve it. I mean, he could have, technically, kicked them out a bit more to the side, with not everybody, seeing it. This would have, not for the sake of the parents, but for the sake of the occasion, right? So if you do it, more quietly on the side, without all the guests noticing, right? It keeps the occasion more peaceful. Yeah, I've wondered this before, Treehugger, but I am not a native speaker, right? So who am I to judge? But fact of the matter is that the subreddit has a H at the end. My wife is 100% on my side, but I can't help feeling conflicted. Am I the asshole? He also thinks it's without an H. I don't know. For standing my ground and kicking my parents out of my wedding. Edit, for more context, Luke hasn't apologized or even acknowledged the pain he caused me. My parents' idea of reconciliation is pretending the past never happened. Also, my wife and I paid for the wedding ourselves, so my parents had no financial stake in it. And for those of you talking about blocking them, I don't think I'm able to do that. They are my parents. You know, I can't help but think that the parents are the bigger assholes than Luke, to be honest. Like, yeah. Like, the parents failed him way more. Like, Luke was a kid, right? And the parents obviously never did anything about it. So, the parents are way more to blame here than Luke, really. I mean, it seems like Luke is an asshole, don't get me wrong. But it also seems like it's a monster the parents created, right? So, not saying like the parents are always at fault, right? Like there's definitely instances where like the parents there is instances where kids turn out to be shitty humans and it's not necessarily always the parents' fault, right? But in this instance, it seems like the parents like just never stepped in. All right. Not the asshole. Setting boundaries isn't tearing the family apart. Your parents did that by ignoring your pain and trying to force Luke back into your life. Good for you for standing up for yourself. And yeah, like, it's your wedding, right? Like, it's totally your decision who's to come and who isn't. So it's also like crossing like crazy boundaries just like to just bring the brother. Appropriate rice, is that like a phrase you say in English? Not the asshole. Blowing up your phone, there's a button for that. Block them. Yeah, 100% not the asshole, and agree with the above. I get that you've made an edit that you can't go no contact because they're your parents, but hun, you can't. But hun. But hun, you can't continue to enable this. What's next? They're gonna bring grandkids into it. When you visit with the kids, your bro is gonna be there with us. When you and your wife go away, work for holidays, they're gonna take the kids to see Uncle Luke because they're family. I'm sorry. The hun just ticked me off. Oh yeah, that's actually a great nickname. My egg donor absolutely ruined my wedding, and my husband and I have never forgiven her for it. It was the last straw for us. I've been in no contact with her for over a decade and it was the best decision I ever made. You need to start really thinking about... This is like a crazy story in a sentence. My egg donor absolutely ruined my wedding, and my husband and I have never forgiven her for it. It's like a... We don't really know the story, but we already know it's wild. Your reply to your parents is simple. You told them what would happen if they brought him. They ought to know that you're a man of your word. They raised you, didn't they? I like that. It's kind of like witty, you know, like a backhanded compliment in a way. It's like, yeah, I like that a lot. OP, you're not the asshole. Your parents fucked up for years by allowing your brother to abuse you, yeah. Rather than addressing the elephant in the room, the assholes failed to acknowledge their culpability. Instead, they placed the burden on you to forget their fucking failures. Brother and parents are all assholes. Absent apologies to your satisfaction, I suggest you tell them all to fuck off and go no contact. This OP, this is well put. I suggest you tell them all to fuck off. Well put. I love it. God, they're really all like honing in like crazy into him for not blocking his parents. It's crazy. All right, next story. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my child share a room with their step-sibling? I, 36 female, have a 10-year-old son, Ethan, from my previous marriage. My partner, Dan, 38 male, moved in with me last year and he's an 11-year-old daughter, Lila, who stays with us every other week. Why Alabama? Is there like... Is it because of the names or is it because of, you know... I don't get the reference. Ethan and Lila get along well, but they both have their own rooms, which I believe is important for their comfort and privacy. Recently, Dan proposed that we have Ethan and Lila share a room so we can turn the other room into a home office for him. He's been working from the kitchen table and says it's not ideal. I mean, that is usually not ideal. I'll understand his frustration. I don't think it's fair to ask the kids to give up their individual spaces, especially when they're at an age where privacy and personal boundaries are so important. Yeah, I agree. They're too old, 10 and 11. Like, the daughter is going into puberty. Like, she's not at an age anymore where she's comfortable around a boy. Like, you know... Especially like with a boy, like she's not gonna be able to like, you know, dress comfortably and stuff, like, you know, like they're too old. If they were younger, then yeah, but like at this age, like this is full on puberty. And then also, you know, boy and girl makes it extra difficult. When I told Dan I wasn't comfortable with the idea, he got upset and said I wasn't willing to compromise to make our blended family work. Yeah, right, Treehugger? I was also thinking, like, why are you in the kitchen, right? Like, do they not have a living room? Like, you know, you can sit in the living room maybe, right? Like, I think a compromise for this would be, hey, you can sit and work in the living room and, you know, the wife instead, like, when she, like, you know, like, I don't know, like... Yeah, I feel the same. Like I have also worked from like tiny spaces. I was in Sweden, right? I worked from Sweden for 4 months and like I've worked like in all kinds of places. I literally worked from a coffee shop, right? Like it's like you know, you can do it. Like it's not like that difficult. It can be sometimes like for meetings maybe be a nuisance, but I think you can sort it out. Like, you know, like if your wife, for example, wants to cook or something, then, you know, just talk about when you have meetings, so maybe she doesn't cook when you have a meeting, right? I don't know, but yeah, I agree. Like, I don't think it's that hard. I do think like the idea of like needing a room. I mean, okay, I do think one thing that I get, I think it's probably rather the children, right? He wants a room where he can close the door and not be distracted by the children. I think that's really what it is. If Harry Potter can work in a closet under the stairs... That's like how I argued. Okay, so Treehugger, you weren't here, but I earlier argued, and I know you'll be with me on this, right? I earlier argued that Prince's stance on time travel, him hating time travel... Oh, good night. Princess, good night. I argued that Prince's stance on time travel is racist against Time Lords. You know, have you ever watched Doctor Who? Time Lords are a race from Doctor Who. Doctor Who himself is a Time Lord. They can perceive things as they were, as they are, and as they will be. So hating on time travel is being racist towards Time Lords. And that is absolutely a valid argument because it's based totally in reality. Just how Harry Potter is based in reality, right? Yeah, right? 100%. Prince was like kind of like trying to argue his way out of this one, but like I think it's like tight, you know? He's done for. He's gonna get cancelled. But yeah, I do understand that with 2 kids, he probably like wants some time where the kids aren't disturbing him. So maybe the issue is rather with like maybe the wife or the, are they married? I forgot. Previous marriage partner, not husband. Okay, maybe she needs to I don't know if she's working too, but if she isn't working, maybe she needs to like take more care of the kids, basically staying out of his way when he's working and not like bothering him with questions and things. Okay. When I told Dan I wasn't comfortable with the idea, he got upset and said I wasn't willing to compromise to make our blended family work. He argued that it's normal for siblings or step-siblings to share rooms and that the kids will adjust. He also claimed that I'm prioritizing Ethan's comfort over his needs and making him feel like an outsider in the house. Why Ethan's? I honestly think this is even more important probably for Lila, because girls tend to be way more sensitive in their puberty. Like, especially at this young age, right? Like, girls tend to go way earlier into puberty, being way more sensitive. I suggested alternatives, like creating a small workspace in our bedroom. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, honestly, why not? Bedroom is perfect, right? He can close the door. He can even lock the door. Or rearranging the living room. But Dan dismissed them as impractical. He insists the kids will be fine sharing, especially since Lila is only here part-time. Okay, I had forgotten that Lila is only here part-time. Yeah, apparently Lila is Ethan's daughter from a previous partner, and Lila stays with us every other week. Okay, it changes my feeling a bit about, like, I guess, like, if she's only visiting, basically. But no, I don't feel like it's actually like she's visiting, right? If she's there every other week, she lives both at her mom's home and at her dad's home, right? It's not like he's a sunshine dad and she's only coming from time to time, right? It's not like that. So no, I do still think she should have her own space. But I know Ethan values having his own space and would likely feel resentful if it were taken away. Yeah, I think this is really problematic at this age, taking it away. Now Dan is accusing me of being unreasonable and unwilling to make sacrifices for our relationship. I feel guilty because I want our family dynamic to work, but I also want to protect my son's comfort and well-being. So am I the asshole for refusing to let my child share a room with their step-sibling to make space for a home office? No, I don't think so. No, honestly, like, unless, like, she only, like, here, Dan dismissed them as impractical, so what are the actual reasons it's impractical, right? Like, I think the bedroom sounds like a great idea. He can close the door, nobody needs to be in the bedroom during the day. That is true too, Treehugger. He could just use her room, but and that's why I'm thinking it sounds really like he really, like, wants his own, like, little home office, you know? I don't know. It doesn't sound like it's actually about him needing a space where he works by himself, because then the bedroom would work, all these solutions would work. It sounds like he just wants a space that is his space, right? Like, that's more what it sounds like. Which, fair, but, you know, like, it is egoistic to be like, my space, me having this extra space is more important than my kids having their space. Yeah, I agree. He shouldn't have, like, No, step siblings of opposite genders should not be sharing a bathroom as they head into puberty. Not the asshole. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Not the asshole. Way to make his daughter feel like a part-time family member. True. What is dad thinking? At their ages and stages, no, they get their own rooms, especially heading into puberty. Yeah, that's like, I think they're way too old for this. Like, if they were like, you know, between like, you know, 3 to 8, okay, right? But I think like, especially when they're like 10, when like puberty kicks in, they need their own rooms, and then also different genders. And yeah, actually, this is also a factor. They're not even like siblings that grew up together. They're step siblings, right? So that would cause even like, I think, a lot more friction, right? Because they don't know each other that well. Dad needs to figure out his own home workspace without alienating his own child and his stepchild. Not the a-hole. I had in my divorce decree that my daughters had their own room and beds and do not share with anyone else, otherwise they will contempt. Wait. I had in my divorce decree that my daughters had their own room and beds and do not share with anyone else, otherwise there will be contempt of court charges. Hubby needs to go back to the office and work if working from home is a distraction. It's the same as Han. Han needs to go back to the office and stop working from home if he can't do it. I love it. Maybe home office is not for you, Han. You are not willing to make sacrifice while he moved into your home, and you suggest totally adequate alternative. I think you got yourself a leech. I mean, we actually don't know if it was her home, right? I don't know. Or did it, like, how was this written again? Oh, moved in with me last year. It does sound like he moved to her, but I feel like this, the way it's worded, it could also mean they moved in together, technically. I heard step siblings who suddenly get rooms together one day lose their shit over egg donors at weddings. Not the a-hole, but you have a boyfriend problem, not a child problem. It's about time to remove the pink glasses and see the rest of the red flags and to rethink all that relationship. Reddit is always like so drastic. I mean, I agree. I do think it's a red flag, like how he doesn't respect his daughter in that way, right? Like it would be like, honestly, to me, it would be a deal breaker too, right? Like I grew up, like I was raised by a single mom, right? So, seeing like and I've seen like not just from me, I've seen like from my cousins and other friends, like, you know, shitty dad figures basically all around. So. That would be an absolute deal breaker to me too, right? Like somebody like just like not really caring about the daughter having that home space. Absolutely not. He's prioritizing his own comfort over the comfort and potential safety. Not saying anything will happen of the children. If he wants an office, he needs to find an alternative. The first time that Lila has to sleep in the room with Ethan, then goes home and tells her mother, yeah, I bet OP's brother will find out that that arrangement is unacceptable. Yeah, actually, yeah. I don't think Lila's mother will be okay with that either. It was Ethan's house before it was Dan's, yeah. Putting two opposite-sex adolescents into a room together as they go through puberty is an incredibly bad idea, yeah. No, 100%. But yeah, it is kind of crazy that the dad is like, oh, this is no problem. They're definitely not at the age anymore where you can like put them into the same room. Am I the a-hole for telling a woman where she can and can't give birth? Oh my god, okay, I'm curious about this one. Before I'm reading this, what I'm imagining right now is like a woman, like, you know, going into labor, you know, in a somewhere in a space place, and you know, there's nothing she can do. She's going into labor. And this person is just like, excuse me, you can't give birth here. Okay. And this is one of the stranger things that's ever happened to me. To set the scene, I, 26, bought the house I'm living in 2019 from this lovely older couple. I thought, as I'm sure anyone who has been in this situation might think, that the signing was gonna be the last time I ever see them or had anything to do with their family. I was wrong. Yesterday, I got a knock on my door. I opened it to find a young couple, probably my age, maybe a bit younger. The woman was pregnant and looked like she was gonna pop any day. I asked who they were and if I could help them. The woman replied that this home used to belong to her parents and that she was born in this house. I asked again what it was that they wanted, since they didn't really tell me if they needed anything from me. She told me that her mother had also been born here in the upstairs bedroom. For context, this is now my bedroom. She then asked if I wouldn't mind letting her bring the stuff that was needed to give birth in the same spot as she and her mother were both born in. I said no, keeping in mind that A, this isn't her or her parents' house anymore, and B, that the bedroom in question is my bedroom. Okay, it's not what I thought it would be, and like, this is just outrageous. Imagine someone coming to your home. My mom was like born in this room. I want to give birth there too. Yeah, close the door and lock it. Call the police now. Holy shit. This is so unhinged. I actually love how unhinged this is. You saw this coming? This is actually insane. Now, I thought this was as normal as a response as was possible given the strange question. But when I was telling my friends about this afternoon, one of the girls in the friend group said that it was pretty cruel of me to tell a pregnant woman where she can and can't give birth. What? Oh my god. That friend is probably like, I don't know, into crystals and shit, right? Crystals, energies, and stones, and and probably like her wisdom is like a pregnant woman, you know, when she goes with the flow, and when the flow leads her into your bedroom to give birth, you have to let her give birth there. Sam, have you ever seen King of the Hill? Yeah. The show, right, with Douglas. That was called King of the Hill, right? Long time ago, though. But yeah, I watched it like as a teenager. With like Douglas and his wife, right? Oh no, that was King of Queens? Wait, King of the Hill. Let me see. Maybe I'm mixing it up. Oh, wait. This is King of the Hill, right? I have actually not watched King of the Hill. I have seen a few clips of it, but I've never actually seen it, really. The Fire Ants episode. Well, I didn't think that what I had said was all that strange, considering I had never met the couple before, and I don't exactly want a strange woman giving birth where I sleep. But my friend insists that I could have come to a sort of arrangement. So here I am asking you guys, am I the a-hole? No. I would be so weirded out by the question. I think it's super unhinged to just like come and knock. Yeah. King of Queens was the sitcom. Edit. So I would just like to add, my friend isn't an idiot. She sounds like one. When we were having this conversation, we were, let's say, having a fun time with fun substances. When I asked her about it today, she genuinely thought she'd imagined the conversation. Obviously, she thinks it's a horrible idea for liability and health reasons, aside from it being weird. Yeah, actually, that's something also, like, right? Like, what if something goes wrong and it's in your house? Like, I don't know, yeah. And for those concerned that she's getting high as a nurse, she's off for the next 2 weeks. She's flying home for the holidays, so we're having a little get-together for those of us who are leaving for home. We didn't even know she was a nurse. Wait, or did he say it? One of the girls in the friend group, he never mentioned that she was a nurse. he without anyone asking, he outed her as a nurse being on drugs. Atsura is doing a little wing spreading. And for those saying that I made this up, I wish I had an imagination that good. I'd start writing if I did. I couldn't have predicted or come with something like this in 100 years, yeah. There's one episode where an old woman, okay, so about King of the Hill. There's one episode where an old woman once lived in the main character's house, but she's super sick, so she comes back and wants to die in her old house. Okay, I see. Your friend is an idiot. You did not tell her where she can give birth. You told a complete stranger that she can't give birth in your house in your bedroom. Not the asshole, yeah. Was your friend high? And the pregnant woman is delusional. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's so fucking unhinged. It's so fucking unhinged. Like, I don't know. And like... Though, honestly, you know, with the context of the friend being on drugs, I'm kind of like, you know, it's kind of a funny joke to make, right? Like, it's a kind of joke I would make, like, how dare you tell a woman where she can give birth and can't give birth? I would say that as a joke, like, full-on sarcastic, right? Like as a joke, 100%. It's kind of like along the line of the jokes, did you just assume my gender or something, you know? Why stop at childbirth? Might as well make a new baby in the room too. Okay, am I the a-hole for being pretty or being petty? Sorry, not being pretty. No, we're not being pretty. We're being petty towards my girlfriend because she wouldn't make me dinner. I, male 26, have been with my girlfriend, female 24, for 2 years. She moved in with me 6 months ago when she graduated college. She applied for jobs, but she is yet to get employed, so I have been paying for everything. My work shift is from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. I eat dinner at 1 p.m., which is usually my girlfriend's gym time, so I cook lunch for myself and I leave her a plate on the counter. As for dinner, she cooks for herself, but rarely leaves a plate for me. When I ask her about it, she gives a vague excuse. She forgot, there wasn't enough ingredients. Assumed I ate dinner at work. Wait, maybe she isn't actually eating dinner. Like, this sounds ridiculous. You've been together for 2 years and living for 6 months together. Oh, I forgot you exist. Oh my god. There wasn't enough ingredients. I don't know. I think she isn't having dinner. I think she just isn't having dinner, or she's ordering or something, or takeout. I don't know. I think she's not actually cooking dinner. Because honestly, it's way harder to cook just for one person than for two. Like, when I like wanna cook just like for me, like it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible, honestly. I always cook like for multiple portions. I still can't get over this. She forgot. After 2 years, she forgets you exist. Oh god. A week ago, I decided to treat her the same way she treats me, so I only made lunch for myself. And when she came back from the gym, she asked me about her lunch, and I said I forgot. She immediately realized what this was about and called me petty and a childish asshole. I told her she is more deserving of those names. Since moving in with me, she hasn't paid for anything, yet she couldn't do a simple request for me. Oof. There's more going on here than the fucking lunch plate. At the end of the argument, I told her I will leave her a lunch plate only if she leaves me a dinner plate the night before. I don't care what excuse she has. She will stay. She was still angry, but she agreed. So am I the asshole? No, I don't think so. It's just so weird. It's just so weird. I need an update on this. Like, is she actually making that? Like, I don't understand. Or maybe it's literally just her wanting to save money on the ingredients. Is it really that? Is she just saving money on the ingredients? God, what an awful relationship. What a god awful relationship where you're like, I'm saving money, I'm only gonna cook for myself, and you're like finding excuses to why you didn't cook for your partner too. Maybe she's just actually that dumb. I don't know. That sounds like ridiculous to me. They're together for 2 years. She still forgets that he exists. I don't know. And like I like, here's the thing. Again, I think it's actually really difficult to just cook for yourself. It's also way more cost efficient to cook for two instead of for one person, right? Like, yeah, in total you might pay more, but like it's not like a 1-to-2 ratio, right? So it is more cost efficient, and like I think it's super difficult to just cook one portion. Like for most things, it's very difficult to just cook one portion. Rare medical condition that she forgets there's anyone else in her life. But yeah, I'm curious what other people have for explanations for her, maybe. I think it's probably like that she's saving money, trying to save money. Not the asshole, she sounds like a freeloader. You cook for her, pay rent, and fund her entire lifestyle. The thing is, the people are saying that, and he said it kind of here too, but like, not really. Like, So wait, since moving in with me, she hasn't paid for anything yet. Yeah, I guess she is a freeloader. The least she could do is reciprocate once in a while by cooking for you too. I would reconsider this relationship because she sounds like an entitled, ungrateful user. Yeah. It is a really sad relationship. Like, it sounds really fucking sad. Like, I feel like at the core of a relationship, you are actually happy to do things for each other, especially if you are already cooking, right? Like, I get it, like being lazy if you're not actually cooking. Like, I can be lazy for sure 100%, right? But if I'm cooking, I'm so happy to make something for my partner, right? It makes cooking 1,000 times better. So this is already like so sad to me. So sad. And the one time he doesn't prep lunch for her, she's on the whole "you're so petty" bullshit. I live with my boyfriend. I always make enough food for both of us when I cook. I don't know how you can move into someone's house and use their food and only prepare it for yourself. Yeah, like, it's weird to me too. It is weird to me too to just make food for yourself. Is it? Yeah, maybe. Okay, maybe. Listen, the actual reason is that her cooking is terrible and she doesn't want to poison him. She's scared she's gonna poison him, right? This is all a big innocent misunderstanding, okay? I totally agree. She should be contributing more, especially if you're covering everything. It's not about the dinner, it's about respect and balance in the relationship. The person not working and not paying for anything should be cooking all the meals, not just once in a while. If I ever lost my job, my wife wouldn't be cooking anything while I'm out of work. Jesus. That sounds slightly over harsh, but okay. Well, I think we got this one sorted. Am I the a-hole for wanting to break a family tradition for my own happiness? I mean, let's hear that awful, god-awful family tradition. I, 29 female, come from a family with a strong tradition of celebrating holidays in a very specific way. Every year, we gather at my parents' house for a big family dinner, and it's expected that everyone participates. The issue is that the tradition, while meaningful for my family, feels like a burden to me. I've always been expected to contribute a large part to the meal prep and planning, and if I try to suggest anything different, I'm met with resistance. Over the past few years, I've been feeling increasingly overwhelmed by the pressure and the obligation. I've tried to suggest a change, like making the meal more casual or splitting the responsibilities more evenly. But every time I bring it up, I'm told that it's just the way we've always done it, and I'm being disrespectful to the tradition. I don't want to disappoint my family, but I also don't want to keep feeling like I'm stuck in a tradition that doesn't bring me joy anymore. I'm starting to feel like I need to break away from this routine for my own mental well-being, but I'm scared of how they react. Am I the a-hole for wanting to break away from this family tradition? I mean, no. Just say it's too much, you know? Like, you're not even necessarily like ruining the family tradition the way I get it. It's just like, you know, hey, it's too much. I'm like too stressed out. I have too much on my plate, literally. Like, you know, I'm not gonna do it this year. Find someone else in the family to do it. Yeah, fuck him next. Like, but I also don't think this is like, I don't think this is about family tradition all that much, only in the way the family argues it, right? But like, there's nothing like crazy going on here, right? Like, oh, our family, like for Thanksgiving, we go out at midnight and dance like under the moon naked, right? Like, that's a family tradition. All this is about is like, okay, when we do holidays, we have like a certain big meal, which is pretty common for families, I think. Like, our family also like has like certain like traditional meals we like to have for certain occasions, right? And they're just like to prepping that for every it sounds like the family is a bit like is being a bit like mean in the or insensitive in the way of like just putting this on her. But at the same time, I mean, 29 years old, like, come on, you're old enough. Like, just be like, no, I'm not gonna do it this year. Like, you're going to Reddit for this? Just tell them no. Come on. I get it if you're 18 or 19, right? But like, you don't need Reddit for this. Okay, let's look at the comments. Just say no. Traditions should evolve to fit the needs of everyone, not just one person's expectations. True. I recently broke a couple of my personal traditions because I found I was doing things only because I was supposed to. The OP situation is more complicated because it involves multiple people. But when traditions become burdens, it's time for a change. See, I don't even feel like this is like a tradition is a burden. It's just like they make her like do a lot of food prep every year, which is really fucking annoying, right? And she's asked before, they weren't willing to compromise, so just say, no, I'm not gonna do it this year. Find someone else. If you don't want me around, I won't come either. It's either flexing or it's being delusional, Prince. One of the two. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad if he could put a school play before rushing to be with me in the hospital, then he could do the same for me this time? Wait. If he could put a school play before rushing to be with me in the hospital. Is this about when she was born, he wasn't in the hospital? Which she clearly wouldn't remember as a baby? Okay, we will see. God, this sounds god-awful though, from both. This sounds like an everybody sucks situation. Okay. My relationship with my dad changed when I, 17 male, was 9 and he left my mom for another woman who was pregnant with his kid at the time. To make things worse, she was married to someone else as well, and the dude was crazy. My dad knew all this and he brought me into that mess by insisting he was going to stay a part of my life, and then had me in the house when his affair partner's husband came and started throwing shit at the house and calling for my dad to come outside so he could shoot him. Jesus. Yeah, the first sentence is already like, okay. The police were called, but before they could arrive, the ex broke into the house and he and my dad attacked each other. His affair partner's son was there and she asked me, a 9-year-old, to protect her 5-year-old son. My dad and the other dude got arrested, and when the whole thing was being worked out in the court, my parents' divorce was finalized. And at the last custody hearing, the judge only gave dad every other weekend because of the bad decision making to take me around at that time. Apparently his affair partner's husband, ex now, I know, had already shown up at the house and made threats, and he put me at risk knowingly. I mean, honestly, the dad is just dumb, right? It's just dumb idiot. I mean, we already know he thinks with his dick first from, like, you know, this. She was already pregnant, right? Not just did he, like, she was already pregnant. They had an affair, right? The dad is just dumb. The dad is just dumb. It is, like, you know, I know, like, it sucks to know he put you at risk, and the dad sucks 100%, but at the same time, don't, like, it's not even something personal. It's not like he didn't put you at risk knowingly, like, or, you know, like, you say he did it knowingly. He knew about the affair partner, but he's probably in his mind, he's like, unga bunga, I'm gonna protect everyone and nothing can go wrong ever, right? Like, that's probably the kind of guy he is. He thinks if that affair if that husband shows up, I'm gonna fuck him up. And, you know, and my son is gonna see me fuck him up, and my son is gonna be fucking proud of me. That's the dad, you know? That's the dad. That's what the dad was thinking. There wasn't any risk. There wasn't any danger. No, there was an opportunity for the dad to be a hero in front of his newfound love and his son. You know, I bet that's what the dad is like, right? Absolutely fucking idiot, you know? But he never even, like, figured out that he put you at risk, basically. I only had to see him until I was 14, and then I stopped going. In the time I was with him, he told me I was still his priority, but he didn't show it. He made promises, but always fell through. He promised he'd come to a football game I was playing, but didn't make it and said his stepson got sick and needed to stay with him. Another time he took the weekend off and said he was taking me camping, just him and me. He said we needed time together, but then his stepson had a karate award ceremony or something, and he wanted to go to that, so he said another weekend we'd go. And he berated me the rest of the weekend for not celebrating his stepson with the family. Then he wanted to come to a competition I was in, and he begged for me to save him a ticket, so I did. But he didn't show up, and he said his stepson was being bullied and he had to go to the school about it. Dad of the year. He followed through about twice with promises. One was to take me to see a movie I'd wanted to see with friends, but he said he wanted to take me. The other was him showing up at a meeting at school about learning challenges I had. He only attended one of the 5 meetings about it. He only attended one of the 5 meetings about it, though. But hey, he promised one and he actually came, so yay him, I guess. He begged me to come and see him and the kids and spend time with his family, and I said no. I told him he cared more about them, and he already looked bad in my eyes because he cheated on my mom, but then he also brought me around crazy. Last year, I got into a car accident and was brought to the hospital. My mom let Dad know several times. He didn't show up until the next day and said it was because 3 of his kids had school plays back to back. Wait, also, does he have 3 kids all of a sudden? Like, holy fuck. Well, I guess he had more kids with that woman, but yeah. I had the nurse kick him out and ask that he not be let in to see me. He tried calling, but I ignored him, and I kept ignoring him when I got home. He left it for a few months and then reached out to me in June and pleaded with me for whatever chance it was. He said he loved me. He saw me as a priority just as much as the others. And he wanted me to let him show me. He said he'd do anything, and after a month of begging, we talked and invited him to see me in a competition. I told him it was his final chance and I didn't care what emergency happened, because in an emergency for me, he put fucking school plays first. He assured me it would happen. The day of the competition came and he didn't show. His stepson had an asthma attack and was in the hospital. 2 of his other kids were homesick with the flu. He said he was needed at the hospital with his stepson, and he asked me to please understand, and would I really expect him to ignore the others and not rush to the hospital, and I said yes. I said if he could put a school before making sure I was okay after a car accident, then he could do the same for me with his other kids. I said he won't, and I'm done. God. You know, this is kind of like, in a weird way, like, we all know that, like, all these excuses the dad had, they were, like, not all of them are real, right? And now this one probably is. Like, the kid is actually in the hospital, and this is kind of like why you, like, how you teach kids why they shouldn't, like, lie and lie and lie. It's like the you know, the kid that cries wolf, because, like, when actually, like, shit hits the fan, nobody's gonna believe him anymore. This is painful because as much of an idiot and unreliable asshole the dad is, he does actually, like, and I wonder why, right? Like, you have, like, so many dads that just, like, break off contact and, like, they don't care, right? But he does keep reaching out. Even though he's terrible at keeping up with his promises or appointments or whatever, he does keep reaching out. So, you know, that is honestly more than most other dads would do. And I understand, like he was obviously wronged by his dad in many ways, right? But at the same time, it is kind of wrong, even though he was wronged when he was in the hospital. It is kind of wrong for the other kids to be wronged in the same way, right? It sucks, but that's how it is. Like, if I'm being wronged by someone, I shouldn't wish for someone else to be wronged that same way, right? There is some pettiness to it, but I can't blame the OP really, because his dad obviously has been shitty, and the dad has absolutely brought himself into this situation. And to be fair, like, the dad probably could have found like a way of like checking, hey, you know, going to the hospital, checking, is kid okay, and like still show up, like, you know, some mix, maybe show up right after, like, probably there was a way. I'd write back and say he was sick for leaving you in the hospital and prioritizing a school play. Yeah. Like, this is like the real like big thing, right? But at the same time, you can't expect I get it, and like the dad obviously sucks, and like honestly, I would just break off contact with the dad. But at the same time, I would not want somebody else to be wronged the same way I was, right? I would write back and say she was sick for thinking it would be cool to screw a married man while also married, having the affair baby and forcing him to abandon his own. I mean, okay, people are really going into this whole affair thing here, but like, that's like at this point like years ago. When do you ever think you're wrong though? But that's like, I know you're wanting to make a joke here, but like, that's not even what I was talking about, right? Like, I was like talking about like, you know, if somebody, you know, kicks me or hits me, I don't want somebody else to get hit just out of fairness, you know? I don't think wanting like somebody else to go through something shitty as well is the right approach. But OP is still not the a-hole because of it. I'm just noting that that's not what you should want out of it. Not the a-hole. Your dad has repeatedly failed you, broken promises, and put his other family ahead of you every single time. Yeah, this like 100%. It's clear he hasn't learned from his mistakes, no matter how many chances you've given him. Your feelings are valid, and honestly, it's not sick to expect your dad to prioritize you for once, especially after the way he handled things in the past, yeah? Yeah, I know, Prince, I know. But yeah, this is like a little bit of like a cry wolf story. Like, the dad has had excuses for years, and then one thing actually, it matters, something serious actually happens. But let's be real, like, the dad was always prioritizing the other family anyways. Am I the a-hole for wanting to skip my husband's family tradition occasionally? Just occasionally. I, 27 female, have been married to my husband, Mike, 30 male, for 2 years. Mike's family has a long-standing tradition of weekly Friday night dinners at his parents' house. My God, every Friday? No, you're not the asshole. Can't, like, Friday also, of all days? Like, Friday is like also the day where you would like, Friday is stream day, hello? Or where you do things like friends, events, parties. It's non-negotiable for them. And Mike has been attending these dinners his entire life. At first, I really appreciated how close his family was. I tried to fully immerse myself in the tradition. And for the first year of our marriage, I didn't miss a single dinner. However, as time went on, it started to feel more like an obligation than something I enjoyed. These dinners are always long, taking up the entire evening, and it's draining after a busy week. Yeah. A few weeks ago, I suggested that we skip one dinner a month so we could have more time for ourselves or even just relax at home. Mike got upset and told me that skipping isn't an option. It's disrespectful to his parents and they would be hurt. I tried to explain that I value his family, but I also need a break sometimes. He insists that this is a part of being married into his family and that I knew what I was getting into. Well, she married him, not his parents, though. I get that, like, you know, you do join in with the family, but like, holy shit. Now I feel stuck. I don't want to ruin the relationship with his family, but I also feel like my needs aren't being considered. Am I being unreasonable for asking to occasionally skip these dinners? No, like, holy shit, this is insane. To be fair though, I would have also commented on this earlier. Like, she hasn't seen Everybody Loves Raymond. Is it a thing in that show too? I don't know. Like, or is the family like that? I don't know. Like, to be fair, like, I would have probably commented on this way earlier. Like, I wouldn't have survived a year, right? Like, I would have been like way earlier. Like, wait, you do this every Friday? You mean like every Friday? like to be fair, right? Like, I wouldn't have let this go on for so long. It's totally fair to want a break from a weekly commitment. Marriage is about compromise, and your husband should support you finding balance between family and personal time. Yeah, 100%. Like, weekly commitment. Ugh. Imagine a weekly commitment with never a break. Like, that's usually something like that. This is like competitive shit, you know? Like, when you actually like compete in something, never taking a break from it. Absolutely agree. Traditions are important, but so is maintaining a healthy balance in your life. A little flexibility shows respect for both the family and your own well-being. It's all about compromise. It's a nice habit they have as a family, and you're not asking them to stop. You're only saying you want to take some weeks off from it. That's reasonable. If I were you, I would not ask my husband to skip Friday night dinner with his family, but I would probably only go with him 1 or 2 Fridays a month. When you don't feel like going, let him go and have a good time. You know where he is and you can go with him the next week. Yeah, I agree. This should not mean that the husband has to stay at home. Of course not. That's a great point. I'm not asking him to stop attending it. I never want to take that time away from him and his family. I just need some space to recharge so I can enjoy the nights I do join them. It's about quality over quantity. Yeah. Bye, I heard you. To me, Friday would be the absolute worst day for this. Yeah, same. As you said, after working all week, you just want to relax. But the bigger issue is your husband's lack of sympathy for your feelings. There are very few absolutes in life, and for him to draw a line in the sand over this is frankly shocking. Yeah, I agree. It's crazy how absolute he is about something over something like this. I would suggest a third party, for example, marriage counselor, to help him understand how unreasonable he is being. Damn. Alrighty. I'm starting to feel my throat. How are we enjoying this Reddit layout? I mean, we could technically use it for like, how does it feel for video reactions? This is probably it's kind of a weird format for video reactions. The video is too small. Yeah, we'll see. But it's a great format. It's a great format for Reddit, right? But yeah, anyways, Prince obviously is AFK again because it is the time for me. Oh, shit, I did not adjust. Wait, how did this happen? Oh, right, I did change the... Yeah. Okay. Fix this really quick. Before stream is ending. Also, welcome back, Prince. I'm here just doing stuff. Okay. Lucky for you. God, look at this. It looks awful. No. We have to, like, this, it cannot stay like this. I hate how chat looks now. I hate it! Fucking hate it. I feel like it used... I need to look at old stream. I need to look how a chat looked like before. It wasn't like this. Chat is so wide now. Like, it used to be much like the ratio. Like, if I now, like, make it smaller, the font just becomes so small, kinda. That's not what I meant to move. Maybe we just do it like this, actually. God damn it. Maybe I just give up on the... We'll just do a full screen. And I guess we could, like, do kind of like this. No. I don't know. I don't know. I'm so unhappy with it. I will look into it. I'm gonna go to bed now. Move it so just the knees show. How about this? How's this looking? How will like... There. All we need is the mic. Oh my god. There we go. Then you won't miss messages anymore? I don't know. I might still miss messages. They're so big that they might disappear too quickly, you know? But yeah, incredible. Incredible design. Incredible. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll be back tomorrow. Sleep well. In your Bett gestellt is how we Germans say. Thank you for hanging out. Bye bye.